if not all of what we've talked about, they have seen, and they are experiencing and living every day. Cries are being heard across the nation by many patriots, but still need to be heard by many people. Let me give you the best example. We have a young man right now, Michael New, who virtually has become the cutting edge of the spear point. In any situation where you have a war, be it a political war first, then working into a physical confrontation, ladies and gentlemen, there are people that are always on the edge. Well, Michael New decided to stand up. Is he a captain? Is he a general? Is he a man with 40, 50, or 60 years experience? Is this a man with gray temples who knows better? No, this is a young man, a specialist war, in his 20s, who decided that because mom and dad taught him well, he knows when something's wrong. This young man stood up. He said no, and he's going to be punished for it, in theory, by the very system that he would actually hope to preserve. Why? Because it has been subverted, and it has been damaged by individuals who have put no value on our Constitution and Bill of Rights whatsoever. Here is a chance for all of us to stand together as patriots, to stand together as Americans. I don't care if you're in the inner city, I don't care if you're in the country, from the mountains to the swamps, it makes no difference. Not one of us will have our little corners to play in if we allow our enemy to take this nation. And if you don't think so, just take a look at what they've already gotten away with. Consider this. There is not a single man who has been properly punished for the murder of a woman holding a baby and a young boy on a mountain in Idaho. There has not been one single person properly brought for trial for criminal action in the attack on Waco. They have been exonerated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is only a matter of time before the people that you saw knocking on doors, before the people you see driving these funny white tanks with the strange letters on the side, decide that they have to enforce the New World Order's laws in Louisiana, or in Missouri, or in Florida, or in Kentucky, or wherever. But it will be here. Now, denial only lasts so long. Then anger sets in. We don't want you to be angry per se, though certainly I am angered in some cases by seeing, first of all, the ignorance of the American people that would let some of these things happen. Second, that people, especially men who claim to be so intestinally fortified and that they will stand against anything, especially the Rose Bowl, the Super Bowl, or especially for the next beer over there in the refrigerator in the kitchen, but won't stand to help support and protect women, children, or even men in their own households in what is supposed to be a free state as sovereigns in America. Now I challenge you, and I challenge you directly, that if you think that there is a problem with this country, that you need to seek out knowledge, you need to seek out information. There's a plethora of databases to choose from. But I also challenge you to this, that if you're going to seek it out, that you also collect the information yourself. Why? Well, we need 100 million libraries in America so that George Orwell's prediction about the black memory hole of history does not take place. By the way, if you think Orwell did not understand the concept of computers, well, let me ask you something. When they put all of the databases into the computer net, doesn't the delete key work all the time? Isn't it an option to, at their discretion, virtually make the page of one book incinerate and turn into atoms that will float in the stratosphere, never to be returned again, as he said? Vaporized, never a memory in any living person's mind. Don't think that it can't happen. It sits in almost every desk in every nation in this country right now, one way or another. The computer is what Orwell was talking about. It is one of the finest tools that George Orwell and Big Brother could demonstrate. The problem is that how could you demonstrate all of the concepts to a population that, first of all, could barely accept the idea that Big Brother could exist, let alone some of the technology that was already predicted by the New World Order crowd 30, 40, and 50 years ago. That's the challenge, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what are we looking to? We're looking to the future. We're not complaining about what's going on without saying that we have solutions. And this is part of it. The first step is education. Another challenge. Michael New is standing up right now as a patriot. He's in uniform. How do you think he found out about it? How do you think his parents found out? How do you think I found out about this, what was going on? A few men and women years ago decided to make the effort to talk to me in one way or another, at one point or another. They tweaked the right mental nerve, they tweaked the right tendon, and forced me to take steps and to ask questions otherwise I wouldn't have. Well, now the challenge is with you. You get an opportunity to do the same thing. That's part of this long gray line of Americans that stretches all the way back to the Revolution. They made a great effort. It's time for you to make the great effort also. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, there is a veritable battery of resources available to the Patriots in terms of educational tools. But one of the first things we have to challenge everybody to is a strong foundation. I guess the best example is to start with those tools which we know are effective. Number one, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, which we have sitting here in the Citizens Rule Book. Just as good Christians must know the Bible, so good Americans must know the Constitution. And it's crucial that we have these tools primed and ready to be used as effective weapons against the New World Order. We can demonstrate its actions. We can also demonstrate the outcome if we fail to follow the guidelines that have already been laid down centuries ago. The advantage that we have as Americans, though, of course, is that there are many, many other tools that can be brought out of our inventory, everything from videotapes to audio tapes and books. Now, most people have asked us, well, what can we read? What can we find that will be effective? I might point out that, of course, we do have a variety of texts that are available. Now, these are provided by many different sources throughout the Patriot movement, so there's more than just one single system that you could choose. For instance, Renegade Government USA, Mass Lawlessness in Action. An excellent reader to help you to understand the nuances of New World Order conversion of the Constitution and Bill of Rights and our Republican form of government to democracy. Well, you're hearing democracy quite a bit, but you don't hear the word republic used even by the Republicans. Remember those people? That other party that's supposed to be having a revolution right now? Well, take advantage of the many texts that are out there. We ask not that you borrow it and send it back, but better still, create libraries of your own. A foundation reader, probably one of the best that you could choose for somebody who especially has a little college education, The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. A second look at the Federal Reserve. Now, this particular text is outstanding in that for most people, the first thing they ask is, well, how will this affect me? And the best thing that you can do is turn to them, have them reach into their wallet and pull out one of those Federal Reserve notes, and then explain to them that every day in America, for every American sovereign, we are always affected by the New World Order and have been for quite some time. Now, the important thing there is, with regard to the New World Order crowd, are they effective? Have they done damage to this country? Well, through the money, most certainly. We discussed earlier a thing called a fraud, or actually one of the great frauds in our recent history within this century. And, of course, it has to do with the Federal Reserve itself and starts at the time when the Federal Reserve was brought into power. Remember that the Federal Reserve was generated during Christmas vacation, similar to legislation that just passed right here in the state of Michigan where I live. They waited till everybody went home for the holidays, and when they came back, cha-ching, what a Christmas present they had. Well, in addition to that, we also have to have a good foundational understanding of the Constitution itself. One of the other texts here by Dr. Eugene Schroeder is an excellent example. Constitution, Fact or Fiction, the story of the nation's descent from a constitutional republic through a constitutional dictatorship to, of course, an unconstitutional dictatorship. Whoops. Now, this particular book is excellent as a primer for many people to, as we say, get them started. Because, again, once you can follow, like a detective, the many steps that were involved to get us to where we are today, then you have a better overall understanding of where we're going. Now, I was taught many years ago as an intelligence analyst that if you can demonstrate with sound, reliable intelligence a particular window or period of action, then you can follow through to the present day with reasonable assumption and accurate predictions of actions that will take place today and into the future through natural progression and order. Well, that's one of the reasons that we promote the idea of collecting and creating and generating a library. Remember, these books are priceless. You're not going to find them in many libraries because they're being purged. We have lists of virtually hundreds of books, hundreds and thousands of books that have been taken off the shelf by the New World Order crowd. Why? Well, not just politically correct is the problem, just simply correct in general. They have a good understanding and a good foundational work that was done as biography or autobiography from the people who lived the particular experience the other side is trying to rewrite. Interestingly enough, at this point in time, throughout the libraries of America, they are concentrating, and I say they, we mean the New World Order crowd, are concentrating in the libraries on the turn of the century, about 1880 through to about 1915, 1916, which then makes me scratch my head and wonder, well, what would they be taking off the shelves?